So, hi, Jessica. I'm so excited to have you with us today. And just so that we can have everything set nice and straight, can you go ahead and state your full name and your position?
Sure. My name is Jessica Jansen, and I'm the Executive Director of Oregon Agriculture in the Classroom Foundation.
Awesome. So, we're just going to start right in with a question. So, what does a typical day in your career look like?
Yeah, so a typical day is pretty varied, really. There's a lot of different things that we do as a program, and my specific job, I have a lot of different types of responsibilities. So I would say a typical day is a combination of working with my teammates to accomplish a project that we're working on, or collaborating with our student interns in getting kits or different things built for teachers. Or maybe interacting with some of our donors and making sure that we have the funding that we need to continue our program. So there's a lot of different kinds of things I do, but it all surrounds the work that we do with teachers and students, helping them learn more about agriculture. So everything that I do in a day has something to do with that piece.
I think that was a very good all around summary back to how you work with everything, because I know that your days are super all over the place, do something different every single day. So I think that was perfect.
Oh, thanks.
So what are your favorite and least favorite things about your position?
Such a good question. I think it's something that kind of varies depending on the year and the season, but I absolutely love what we do and the work that we do with teachers. It's a really inspiring group to work with. And so my favorite part has to be just the teachers that we get to work with that are in the classrooms every day teaching students, and just being able to provide them with some fun things to include in their classroom is awesome. So that's probably easily my favorite part of my job. I'd say probably the least favorite part of my job is just some of the uncertainties. And in the last year, it's been really apparent in that nothing has really been the same as what it's been in the past. So some of those uncertainties definitely create challenges and, just make it a little bit difficult sometimes that what we did one time might not work again or something like that. But I do like the different challenges too. So there's silver linings among those uncertainties for sure.
Yeah, and I think that's a great way to look at it, where people have their least favorite just things about their position, but being able to find those silver linings, that's turning those more negative or not as fun parts into something that's still really beneficial.
Absolutely. And that's so important. I mean, just for mental health and well-being, to realize that even in the midst of something that I don't like to do, there's always something that it's going to benefit or some reason that we're doing it. And yeah, finding those things is so important.
Yeah, definitely helps getting through those easier as well. So
Agreed.
you touched on how there are a lot of uncertainties in your position, but were there any fun surprises in your career and in your specific job that you didn't know about and that you actually continue to enjoy after you found them?
Yeah, I would definitely say that I never would have seen myself in a position like this when I was in high school or even college, really. And so I didn't really even know that the great things that existed. The thing that probably surprised me the most is just how much I enjoy working with different types of people. We work with a really diverse group of people, and that's just so wonderful to be surrounded by people with different experiences and different backgrounds and to learn from each other. Many times teachers don't know much about agriculture, and I am helping them to learn a little bit more, but I don't know that much about things that they know a lot about. So we have this great information sharing that happens, and I think that just really surprised me about my job and my position and kind of where my path has led me.
That's so much fun. Yeah, I think that ag is really fun in that way, that you're constantly learning something because it's just such a diverse industry, and then getting to share that with other people, because you may not be in the ag industry, but agriculture affects everybody's life. And so it's just super awesome to get to see all those things coming together, and you get to experience every single aspect of that and learn about all the different kinds of agriculture.
Yeah.
It'd be so
That's
much fun.
definitely, and I'm glad you brought that up because that's also something that I really enjoy that really surprised me is just the diversity within agriculture and all of the different things that there are to share within the agriculture arena. I was exposed to just a segment of the agricultural industry in my youth and growing up, but there's so much out there, and that's been a really fun part of this job and the work I do, interacting with all of those different agricultural industries and learning so much. I always say that I'm kind of an ag nerd. Anytime there's a tour or something to explore, I'm like, I want to be in there and seeing how something is produced or grown or harvested or processed. And because any information that I can get and learn from that, I can share with teachers or students. So I'm always up for new adventures. I even have an ag bucket list, I call it, of all the things that I want to experience in agriculture over the course of my career.
I love that. An ag bucket list. I think I'm gonna have to make one for myself. I definitely agree. An ag nerd, there is so many of us in the world, and I think we're super cool, not gonna lie. But I like the ag bucket list. That's really fun, and I've never heard that before. Definitely gonna have to make one for myself.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one of the things on my ag bucket list is exploring a cranberry harvest. Never seen that and never experienced that, so that's one of them. So if any cranberry farmers are watching, let me know.
You gotta let Jessica know she needs to check off all those things off her bucket. Contribute to the ag bucket list, everybody. So we'll kind of turn it around and get back into your job. So how much education did you take in order to get into the position you're in now?
Yeah, so I have a bachelor's degree in agricultural sciences and also a degree in speech communication. So most people in a similar role to mine would need at least a bachelor's degree, but a lot of my coworkers and counterparts also have a master's degree in education or agricultural education. A master's degree is maybe something I want to pursue in the future, but it's not immediately needed for my position in the roles that I have now.
That's great. Yeah, I feel like a lot of students and youth, and I mean, even myself in college right now, I'm like, okay, I have to have a master's if I want to have this, like, like a director position or something. And I think a lot of people just don't realize that you don't really have to have a master's degree. I think they're awesome, and kudos to everyone who has completed one, because that's just like way more work than I'm willing to do right now. But it's really interesting because a lot of higher up positions or things that you think are like super fancy, you don't need to have a master's degree. So I think that's really awesome. What activities do you think that students and youth now can participate in if they wanted to do something similar to your job in the future or go into a field similar to yours?
Yeah, that's an awesome question because there are so many ways to be involved in agriculture and in education in students-owned communities. So the neat thing about education is that it's something that's everywhere in every community, in every setting, and everybody has experience in it. So it's this great shared experience that we all have. So the best way to start if you're interested in education work, is to start volunteering in classrooms. And many times middle school or high school students have opportunities to maybe do presentations or do work with younger elementary school students, and you form these great partnerships and connections while you're also getting experience in how it works to teach, something that you've always seen in your own school environments and things. But definitely, it's just a great way to jump in and try it out. So there's lots of different programs within 4-H or FFA programs and different things that can give you that experience from a really young age that can just help you to gain those skills and experiences in education. So I think there's so many ways to just jump right in and start getting started in educating, whether it's younger students or people in your community. Lots of opportunities to do that.
Yeah, and just, slight plug for Oregon Ag in the Classroom. Like, if you want to volunteer, they're always accepting volunteers. There's lots of stuff to get done. Go volunteer. They're super fun to work with. There's always something fun going on.
Yeah, thanks, Lil. I appreciate that. I completely missed that opportunity, but that's one of the really cool programs that we run is a literacy project where many high school students go into their elementary school classrooms, and I love a full circle experience that is for high school students to many times go back to their own elementary classrooms and have the opportunity to engage with those younger students. And you realize, wow, how far you've come and where you are now, but also how smart elementary school students are. And sometimes they might kind of challenge you a bit and make you think about things in a different way too. So lots of fun experiences that can come from working with elementary school students for sure.
Yeah, 100% totally agree. And if you want a challenge, you just go hang out in like an elementary school classroom, and man, they will throw you for a loop. They're so much fun, and they're so smart and so witty. They're amazing. I just love hanging out with elementary students. They're really fun. Talk a little bit about how your path led you to the career you're in now.
Yeah. So I actually grew up in Sherwood, which is a suburb of Portland. And my early childhood I spent in a really rural Coast Range community called Vernonia. And that's where most of my family still is. So my background really combined a pretty rural experience, and many of my family still work in natural resources and agriculture, with more of a suburban upbringing where agriculture wasn't a part of the community that I was raised in. So those experiences really shaped me and really made me aware of how many questions people have about agriculture. And myself, like I said, I had the experience through student organizations, most definitely 4-H and FFA as well, where it gave me this experience in agriculture. And I was just eager to learn more and also to help bridge that gap between the rural and urban worlds that we have in our state and really across the country. I think there's so many questions that people have about agriculture, and I just love to explore those questions, help people understand more, and really kind of try to build some of those bridges.
That's awesome. So you grew up in Vernonia, and then you graduated from Vernonia High School, correct?
No, so my young childhood was in Vernonia, but I went to Sherwood for most of my childhood years in school. So I just had this really just different kind of experiences as a very young child where I saw some of these differences.
Gotcha, understand. And so then where did you get your undergraduate bachelor's degree?
Oh, yeah. I guess I can continue my story, huh? So after high school, I came to Oregon State University and received my degree in agricultural sciences and communication. And then right from my undergraduate degree, I actually started in the position I'm in now. So that's a little bit unusual, I think, but it just really was a great opportunity to like just dive in and start doing something. It was very intimidating, very scary. But it's also just a really good reminder that you should always try for opportunities, because I thought I was not qualified for the position that I was applying for. My academic advisor encouraged me to apply. And I thought, what's the worst that could happen? They could say no. And I think that's just such a great reminder to everyone to take advantage of opportunities and to put yourself out there, even if you don't think you might get it, and you might surprise yourself. So so now I've been in this role for 7 years. Actually, this last week was my work anniversary, which is exciting. And I've been kind of growing and developing in this role. Our program has been growing and developing, which is really exciting. I've taken on additional leadership opportunities within our national program, which has been a new exciting adventure. And just kind of always trying to challenge myself and to put our program in the best position possible for the future.
Yeah, that sounds like a whirlwind of an experience, but super fun. So you said that you graduated from your undergrad and then you went straight into the position that you're in right now. So were there any important decision-making moments or like little tidbits that you were like, oh my God, I'm doing this, like this is propelling me into the future, or anything somewhat similar?
For sure. And I definitely think that many students experience in those transition points in your life, like, are you making the right decision? Whether it's after high school and you're deciding if you want to pursue a degree or if you'd like to enter a trade school or in the workforce. Or maybe it's after college and should you accept this position, or maybe this opportunity arises. And I definitely had that experience. So when I was offered the position that I'm in now, I just really, it was a difficult decision to take it. At the time I also was considering going into a master's program. So it was definitely kind of that fork in the road, so to speak. And it was like, what is the best decision for me? So I just really depended on my mentors and people around me that helped me make that decision. And at the end of the day, I was really comfortable with it and decided to go for it. And I think that's really important, is just to make a decision, try it out. And if it didn't work out, that's okay. There's lots of other ways to go back and take the other road, so to speak. But just starting something and trying something, I think, is really important in whatever students decide to pursue.
Yeah, and like you said, pursue every opportunity. You never know where it's going to lead you to, and the worst that anybody's going to say is no. And honestly, it sounds really harsh and it might be a little rough, but honestly, it's really not that bad. People who are in like really high positions and like in your dream job, somebody said no to them at some point. Like,
absolutely. Yeah. And well, that's such a great point. And I think that as I reflect back on opportunities that I didn't get that I wanted, there was a lot of those throughout college. And even as I was applying for positions, I thought, this is the job that I really want, or this is the, program that I really want to be a part of. And I didn't get in, or I didn't get that opportunity. And looking back, I can really see why. And I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. And, I personally believe that. So that's where I can see it in my own life of going back and looking, the reason I didn't get that internship was because there was another one out there for me, or the reason I didn't get this opportunity is because perhaps the direction that I am now really was meant to be for whatever reason. So I think that's a really good thing to remember, is that when one, as cheesy as it is, when one door closes, another one opens. And that's really true. If you continue being diligent and seeking opportunities, there are lots out there.
Yeah, and like you said, they're super cheesy, but there's a reason they stuck around for this long. All those sayings are so true.
Absolutely.
And they tell you you're not going to want to grow up, and you're like, I want to grow up. And then you get old and you're like, what? Every door is there for a reason. That's just how it goes. So I know that you touched on how you had a lot of mentors. Who do you think were like your most pivotal mentors, the ones that influenced you the most?
Yeah, I was reflecting on this question. It was really neat to think about those people in my life that have shaped me and formed me and helped me, like I said, make some of these decisions and encouraged me to pursue opportunities. Okay, so in my first year of college, I was a part of the Dairy Princess Ambassador Program, and I had a mentor that worked with me in that program that became a dear friend and somebody that just encouraged me as I was in just a period of self-discovery, and has just always been is a great friend of mine as well. So that was one person. I also had several teachers, both in high school and in college, that encouraged me and served as a mentor to me. Namely, my academic advisor in college, Dr. Greg Thompson, was a tremendous mentor. And now I have a lot of women in my life that I work with in different organizations that are tremendous mentors to me. And I really look to them when I'm thinking about decisions. I think about what these people would do, and just really appreciate that network and support that I have around me. I think that is so important, especially for young professionals, to really have people in their life that they can call up and say, hey, this might be a silly question. And those people can just help you, guide you through those things. So I've been very, very blessed and very fortunate to have just a great group of people in my network and in my community, great family to support me in these ways and different experiences throughout my life.
Yeah, and like you said, it's all about making those connections and building those bridges between professionals and friends and family. They make a huge difference in your life, like whether that's in school or professionally or just personally. Having someone there for you is always just amazing.
Absolutely.
But did you always want to do what you're doing now? That doesn't specifically have to be Oregon Ag in the Classroom, but maybe doing ag education or actually even being in the ag field?
Yeah, that's an awesome question because I think that it's really intimidating when you're in your first year of college or like I said, coming out of high school and you're like, what do I want to do? And you have this kind of maybe an idea, maybe not. And that's totally okay. And for me, it was that I just knew that I loved agriculture and I knew that I wanted to do something in agriculture. And so that was a driving force for me. But I also just really like to have a job that makes a difference in some way. So that really fulfills my position right now, really fulfills that for me personally. I know that the work that we do makes a difference for teachers. And yeah, so that I just making a difference in some way was really important to me. So that this job currently really fulfills that. There's just so many ways that I know that we're making a difference in the lives of teachers and their students. So that's really fulfilling to me personally. So I think that it's might not look exactly like I had in mind when I was going through school, but just being open to the opportunities and being flexible with the opportunities that came my way, I think it's really allowed me to find a really fulfilling career and career path.
Yeah. So then, if you had to give students advice, what would you give them if they were interested in your field of work or in the field of, or working in the field of agriculture?
Well, agriculture is so diverse. So I would definitely recommend to students to keep an open mind because you don't even know what is out there. So keeping an open mind into what different positions and what different roles there might be is definitely something I would encourage students to do. As far as skills go, I say this a lot, but the most important skill that I use every day is writing. And I think that students, if you can learn how to be an effective writer, whether that's grants or emails or writing documents that need to be reviewed by partners, there's so much writing that I do every day. So really honing that skill and being really confident in my ability to communicate what I'm thinking or what I'd like to do in a written way is so important for my job. So I think just practicing that, writing those essays, getting better at writing is such an important skill and something that I use every day, multiple times a day. Yeah, and beyond that, I think it's just really, like I said, being open to the opportunities that exist. I think that something that's really crazy to think about is that jobs even 5-10 years from now may not even exist that students students are going to be doing. So just keeping skills in lots of different things and being flexible and kind of seeing what opportunities exist, I think is really important.
Yeah, I think that's some amazing advice that everyone can take. I mean, youth, students, I think that's really valuable to just anybody. So, what keeps you motivated when it comes to your job and your career?
Such a great question, because I think that that's something that is so important as you look at a career. You want to be motivated and excited to do whatever you're doing. And what motivates me is just that I know that we're making a difference. I can see that in the teachers, I see that in the students that we work with. And so that really keeps me excited and that keeps me energized and wanting to work on coming up with new creative ways to teach agriculture or new programs that are so exciting to teachers and classrooms. Some of the most exciting things that we do are projects that make learning really fun. And to me, that's so exciting to be able to play a role in that and kind of partner with the teachers on that. Because if students can be inspired by some project or program that we do, I think that's just so worthwhile. So that really motivates me to do our best and to continue to be creative and explore lots of things and really do the best work we possibly can.
Awesome. Yeah. And I have definitely seen your passion for your job and what you do every day throughout the entire interview. But we have this really fun thing that we are borrowing from 4-H, and it's called a spark. And so basically, it is just this moment that you had, whether that could be when you were younger, it could be like yesterday, when you were like, oh my gosh, this is it. this is me, this is what I want to do. So I think you've touched on it a couple of times, but what is your agricultural spark, and did you find that when you were a teenager?
Yeah. So I can remember, I can put myself back to myself in high school. And one of the things that I did was I had this teacher that I just really enjoyed, taught English, and I took an elective class from him in speech. And we were doing different speeches, different styles. And I remember that teacher said to me, "Wow, you have a gift and just in speaking." And I think that that just really ignited within me this like, oh, I didn't really realize that's something that I was good at, or maybe, a skill that I had kind of yet to discover in myself. So I really, from then on, kind of honed that skill. And I did a lot of speaking through FFA. And that's something that's kind of carried through into my professional career as well. Obviously not like in a formal sense, but it's interwoven a lot in what I do. So I think that was a spark for me in just really feeling empowered and really just giving me that kind of planting the seed, so to speak, of something that I was good at, and being told that was really inspiring and motivating to me. But just in general, I think the spark in my career comes from just the feedback that we get from teachers, and just having them say, my student was so inspired by this. One of my favorite stories is we rent out egg incubators where students can hatch chicks in the classroom. And this teacher rented an incubator from us, used it in her classroom, and she said, I was really getting burned out on teaching. I was really having trouble seeing the connections that I was making with students. But this project helped me to see that light in students' eyes when they see these chicks being hatched, and really reinvigorated me for my profession, for teaching. And that story just has always stuck with me as one of those things that's like, we have that together with the teachers. We're in this great partnership. We can provide those great learning opportunities for students, and as a result, the teachers benefit, and it's just this great relationship all the way around. So that really just inspires me and keeps me motivated and makes me excited to do the work we do.
Yeah, I think those little moments, they could be the smallest thing, but they just make the biggest difference. And like, they light up your day. And like, when you were telling that story, you definitely lit up. We could see your passion about your work and everything you do. And it's just been so great to get to talk to you about your personal career and your development. And it's just been so great. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Oh, thanks, Lael. It was great talking with you too.
Yeah, so everybody make sure you join us later with Dive for Ag when Jessica teaches us a lovely activity with our teens as teachers. So feel free to check us out on our website, our blog, and all of our other social medias, which will be linked in the next slide. Thanks, Jessica.